Hello, and welcome along to episode 9 of Elsewhither, Those of the Unchained. Last week, at the beginning of the episode, we were in the inn that Annie owns. Can anybody remember its name? Half painted upon the board.
The Silver Goblet.
Fantastic, that's what I like. Yeah. Progress. I gave them a D4 for that last week, and it took a lot of guessing. So we started the session in the Silver Goblet, where the Necromancy Stone began to try and exert its will upon various members of the party, culminating in Ashleen, the owner of Beyond the Veil, a powerful cleric, almost succumbing to its temptations before passing it under an iron pot, well, with the help of the party, under a lead and iron pot. Rico, there appears to be a head over your shoulder. Yes, putting it between two pots to conceal it. There were a few brief moments where it attempted to reach out or persuade others in the party to do its bidding or to join with it. Vel'zekiss was quite firm that if he was going to control the damn thing, it would be on his own terms. Boxxo thought it was a terrifying idea and basically decided to be anywhere other than there, at which point he went out and saw that undead were rising from the local cemetery. Another prize, if anybody can tell me the name of the god that the local chapel was for.
Sebastian.
No, it wasn't. Stop making things up.
It should be.
It was for the constellation, wasn't it?
It was a constellation god, yes.
Oh, jeez.
There's only a few of those.
It's like a god of like humbleness.
It was. It was
something like
Norma. Almost the normality, right? Who is depicted as the oxen pulling the plough, the simple man's god, the humble man's god. Undead were seen sort of crazily running down the street and attempting to attack. The city guard dealt with them accordingly, with the help of the priest of Norma, who was from that chapel. Said priest of Norma suggested a few different options for trying to dispose of the necromancer's stone, one of which, his most recommended, was the goddess Lacerta, the goddess of death. And that's why you guys decided to go, only to find out that they were like, yeah, this is ours, we're going to keep it and use it again. Which some people, Boxxo specifically, found a little fucking disconcerting. That being said, they had used it originally to raise a veil of life and death between the spirit that was in the tavern and those outside. When this veil was broken by the dropping of the obsidian that was surrounding the stone, the spirit of the Jinn possessed Annie. And that is why anything she thought of, anything she wished for, if you will, became true spontaneously. Powerful Jinn, and unleashed in his possessing form. She is taking shelter in the Temple of Lacerta, where Rhea saw her settled in before coming back to the group to report, with the hopes that they could both separate the Jinn from her and perhaps make things all a bit nicer. And a bit more settled for her. Sorry, bear with me 1 second. We seem to have sound. There we go. And then beyond this, the group decided to take on some other work. You went back to the inn. You bumped into Merrigan, who mentioned a treasure cove along the east coast. Should you wish to pop in there anytime soon, there's treasure caves and treasure coves all over the place. Because for 150 years, there's been a war and nobody's really been able to investigate anything. Because Toothy was like, why did everything always happen a long time ago? And the answer is because basically nothing else happened during the war. You also heard of a few other bits of work. I think I put them all in one quest thing, did I? Here we go. Love that for me. So Gorban wants to awaken his pig. 150 gold pieces. The rich nobleman, Lord Oshathor, who I keep calling Oshawott, hasn't come out of his house and nobody can get in. You've got a treasure cove map from Merrigan. Lunessa has lost her amethyst necklace. Rovassa, who we identified may well be a Lizardfolk, but not the one that's been seen around the tavern, just wants to go home. Gorban and Rovassa are paying quite a large sum for their assistance. Jodie's husband has been arrested, help her prove his innocence, and she'll offer a family heirloom. And Patricia Foppolo, the proprietor of the Bristling Bard, is looking for a husband. Not her husband, a husband. Also, the Culver Lake cult are recruiting. Supplies can be found on the desk. And the group, of course, being the Unchained, the breakers of chains, the mothers of no dragons whatsoever, decided that the right thing to do was to free an innocent man from jail. and there it got convoluted. For expediency's sake, I'm just going to say that basically he's an asshole, mistreats his wife, mistreats courtesans, and it was his axe. The cat has given us a thumbs up. It was his axe that was found at the murder scene. It's all very convenient, except he was at the courtesan's house on the night of the murder. Or the courtesan's room at the night of the murder. The courtesan basically confirmed this and basically also told you that she would never admit that in any court of law to expedite him. She wants to see him hang and she's planning on attending the public execution and reveling in joy. After you'd spoken to Morvena and her younger sister, who I think was called Paige, unless anybody wants to correct me there, I'm pretty sure she's called Paige. Who were having a bit of a rough time, and you found out we're in generational debt to the Precious Pearl, which is run by a woman called Pearl, by the way, which is kind of odd when you think about it. She is the bean of the front design, if you will. So that's a bit gaudy, isn't it? I hadn't really considered that until I said it right now. Anyway, they're in debt to the proprietor, Pearl, of the Precious Pearl, and therefore can't leave, and they're holding her daughter hostage in the kitchens to prevent her from leaving. With the group faced with such moral quandary, and no Rhea there to roleplay to tell us what to do, it was a dicey situation, but here we are, returning as you guys leave the brothel and assemble outside. It is approximately 12:30 in the afternoon. On Dreamrise, it's a good time for lunch. You do have packed lunches for everyone, purchased by Toothy, but you don't know what they entail today. Packed up by Helena. I still haven't really decided how to say that name. I seem to alternate between the two. As you stand outside trying to decide exactly what to do, I will hand over to our...
So I stayed outside when everyone went into the Pearl.
Right.
Could I have done something whilst the guys were inside chatting up?
Maybe. What sort of thing?
Talk to a guard.
Just a random guard? Like, you don't need a
Just any
particular guard? Okay, yeah, you don't need, like, the guard.
Unless the captain's around.
No, there are a couple of guards outside. They don't tend to spend much time in and around this place because it's
I can imagine.
Gaudiness and difficulty, and I'll turn off my emotional music and resume some sort of suitable mischief music for Boxxo to find out what he's up to. Boxxo, you approach a guard, and what doest thou?
Yeah, I'll approach a guard, and I'll just say, excuse me, and I'll kind of like
Yes,
tap
sir.
on his armor.
Yes, what can I do for you?
Can you answer some questions for me?
Charms?
Okay. So if someone was being beat up, what would be the punishment for that?
Why would we punish somebody for being beaten up?
No, the person
Sorry.
who is doing it.
Well, assault. It depends. Is this happening in a public place, in the privacy of their own home, in a tavern, over a brawl, over an ale? Like, what's the situation?
In a private place.
It depends. Is it a man rightfully beating his son for disobedience?
No.
Is it two brothers, rivals, for the love of a girl, getting in a tussle in a room and beating? It depends on the situation.
No,
We don't just have
no.
one single rule for everyone. That would be ridiculous.
Right. No. If a husband was hitting his wife.
Well, by the laws of marriage, his wife is his property. We cannot punish that.
Okay. What if they were also hitting other people? Like their workers?
If you mean to speak of somebody who is already incarcerated for murder, use their name.
No. It's not.
He looks pointedly at you. Foul characters are often unpunished for their foul deeds. The law does not protect everybody it should.
Well,
Women especially are often not given the full rights of the law. Emperor Kirzan was the person in charge where most laws were created. Though he changed little in terms of those domestic laws. Nowadays, the only person who could make such a judgment, and indeed might be called upon for such a judgment should it escalate to court, would be the Chancellor himself. Oh, by the way, Jay, we made this lovely little document last week. Here it is.
Oh,
Just in case you need this information. Political parties in Vassal.
oh boy.
It should help you out as we refer to various people. A reminder that the Emperor Kirzan is dead. The leader at the moment, currently in the city, is Chancellor Lycus. And that is who he's saying you would have to go to.
We'd have to go all the way to the
Regards to
capital.
No. He's the... Okay, so... power is regional in Gallania. The region of Mazrea also has the capital city of Mazrea, which you are in.
Okay, right.
He is the Chancellor of Mazrea. So, I know what idiots decided that the region and the city should be called the same name, but...
Hey, you're not the first person.
So yes, he's in Mazrea.
No, that's great.
New York,
if
you will.
Yeah, sure. Where would I find him?
Well, I couldn't be too specific at this particular moment, as it's not something I keep up to date with. You could apply for an appointment via his secretary, courthouse.
Where's the courthouse?
The court district. It's not at all.
You can fuck off.
It's not at all. It is in what's called the High District. So there are very rich noble houses. There is the palace, which is currently occupied by Emperor Kirzan's son and the immediate family. And there are some other buildings there. There is a single church of the Draconic Pantheon. That's smaller than the main temple, but it is there. There's also a few other bits. There's a library there. There's
are there signposts?
It's pretty easy to navigate to there should you wish, but you do not have the time to do that before these lads come out.
Okay, great. Yeah, then I'll just say, okay, thank you. And I'll go back to wait outside the Pearl.
So you do, he sort of mutters to himself a little bit, and you do hear him with sharp ears as he goes over to his comrade. Citizen there seeking moral justice. Giving him directions to the Chancellor. Kobold, nonetheless.
Oh no.
I thought they were all slaves. Good to see one free and free-thinking. The other guard sort of looks at him and sort of... What are you on about?
Oh no.
Heavy morning for you, was it? Anyway, didn't you hear that Nancy's had her muffins stolen? And then they sort of head down the road. Head down the road, and please don't take that in the...
Oh my gosh. Did they lick the muffin?
There always got to be some sort of...
Not the baker's district.
Gutter-minded creature in here. There are bakers in the Courtesan district.
Oh my goodness.
It's not the Courtesan district anyway. Where you currently are is in the extended dock ward. So you went down to the docks, and then the dock ward comes inwards a bit and is full of tawdry places for sailors and bakeries. Nancy's bakery specifically.
She got a great muffin.
She did. She doesn't anymore. It's been stolen. All of them.
No.
How mean. Anyway. Yes, your comrades in arms come out of the precious pearl, and you may all congregate out in front and discuss things, many things. What's the plan? How are we feeling? What are people thinking? If you want to do a little recapping of any roleplay that's already happened for the benefit of our lovely Satyr, I would appreciate.
Well, as I remember it, we had some ideas as to solve this problem. One of which was to basically prove Behrman's innocence, but then send him away so that his wife can live free of his abuse.
So to make sure that everything goes through lawfully correctly, and then make your own
basically
rules
force him.
afterwards.
Force him to fucking vamoose. Basically, I can't remember if we had any other bright ideas. Joe, Jack, Josh.
Well, Boxxo disagreed that we should send him away, quote unquote. Boxxo was thinking that we should free him if he's innocent, but that, like, if the wife is fine, is in her mind is like, oh, I don't care if I get beat, I love this man, I want to be with him, then that's her choice to make, and we shouldn't be dictating people's lives and choices. But Boxxo said that that we should tell the guards and the authorities that he's hitting people, but the rest of the team didn't think that was enough, which is why now Boxxo's investigating.
Was anyone of the mindset to just let him die?
No.
Yeah, I believe at least one person was.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Vel'zekiss didn't mind leaving him to die at all.
Well, he doesn't want to be responsible for, like, if this was just this woman and she was like, I don't need help, and she doesn't want to take any action to help herself, he would just walk away happily and do something else.
Okay.
But not too keen on deliberately using his power to make it worse for her.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that
by
Vel'zekiss was
emancipating the...
Right.
Right.
I thought though that Vel'zekiss was kind of keen on flexing his powers to help this guy escape, considering
Yes, right.
he is literally an escape artist. So
His position in terms of tactics is definitely, we don't need to talk to people and sort this out. We need to decide for ourselves what is right, and then just put people where they belong.
Okay.
I've had an idea because I've talked player Jack had the idea of we free him illegally and then say you have to get out of here because you're wanted for murder. Let him not know that, then we prove his innocence after the fact, and then he's like, you know, he's caught in this situation where he feels that he has to flee, but then we also prove his innocence.
Do we then tell the truth to the wife?
Rico, that's the
Nah.
second interjection that you've made while muted.
I was gonna say the wife only wants us to free him. Does she want us to prove his innocence, or does she want us
prove
to
his innocence.
She wants
free
us
him
to
right
prove
now.
his
She
innocence.
She wants him
wants
back.
her
Yeah.
life back, her love back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but if we're like, look, you know,
It looks like
You have to-
You did do this. If you want him to live, then we're gonna have to basically bust him out, something like that.
no, we don't tell her. I think we just tell him. We bust him out and we tell him you have to go now because there is absolutely no way that like if you get caught, you're done. You know what I mean? Like, and if we get caught, we're done. So you don't get to say bye to your wife. You don't get to say bye to anyone. You just have to go. And here's some provisions. Get on a ship and leave.
Then how does that?
But that kind of fixes the problem, but
And-
it doesn't stop him
yeah.
then going and getting a new wife and beating her and beating other people.
And moreover, right, like, although
No,
it's
very
very
true.
clever, it doesn't, like, do we care? I mean, maybe some of us do, right? But, like, that plan supposes that what we care, the reason we care about this is because we don't think he deserves to be in there. But actually, the reason we care about it is because she wants him out. We know he does deserve to be in there.
Yeah.
In a way. Maybe not
Yeah.
executed,
Yeah.
depending on your
I mean-
perspective, right? But so it kind of solves the wrong part of the problem.
Or what we could
Yeah.
do is just let
That's true.
this form of justice take place while also doing our own investigation, finding the real killer, so that way we kill two birds with one stone.
We could just be late to the party and solving the crime.
Oh no!
Like, oh,
We're an
no!
hour late.
Innocent,
Oh,
you're the
yes.
real one. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, when
Like, perhaps we should just go look and see if this nobleman who can't get out of his house has less of a complicated, idiotic life to untangle.
wait, and then for as far as like the courtesan who has like a life debt, is it considered kidnapping if you're releasing a child hostage?
Not if you do it with
Depends on who
magic
you
and nobody
ask.
knows.
Okay. Okay. Oh boy. 'Cause that's the one I'm kind of stuck on too. It's like this can of worms opened up a whole other can of worms where there's a kid being held to force like a mom to stay in a place.
And then Toothy didn't know it was going to be so non-black and white from the get-go.
How's your moral compass feeling, Toothy?
Oh, it's I don't know which direction it's pointing anymore.
It's overheating.
Yeah,
Just going out.
it's a propeller at this point.
Ah, boy. So, this is rough. Do we all want to get drinks about it? Find a place to eat and drink and
Yeah,
Perhaps we should eat our lunches.
yeah.
We find a park.
Yeah.
Area. Is there such a
Sit
thing
under
here?
a tree.
An area we can sort of sit.
Hey,
and
yes,
conversate
I'm kidding.
without having to pay.
Yeah, definitely. There are some benches over by the dock looking down over the sea. There is a sort of street vendor, if you will, who is sort of crying to the street, shouting, fresh juices! New fruits in town! Fresh juices! Going cheap! Got an excess going on! And you can see that he's got piles of different fruits next to him. Where that all appear like they're sort of extremely ripe. They're not going to last more than a day or two. And then he's got this sort of it's like a handle with a block of wood that fits just about inside a box that has some holes sort of piercing the side. So it's not a crank. He just has to push down on it really hard.
I see.
And you can see he's wearing sailor's wares, and you can see that he's probably an opportunistic sailor who sailed on a boat where the fruit's too ripe to sell in the boat, and he thought, I'm gonna make some money on this. He's seeing the five of you. He goes, 5 juices, 2 coppers. You can pick. Got apples and pears and oranges and pomegranate, and I don't know what this is. And he waves a nectarine at you.
I know what that is.
Remember, have we connected? Okay, so Jay's going to miss out on this. Helena gave nectarines out to all of you with your packed lunch, and gave you a nectarine for Jodie, because she has an excess of some random guy who came and sold her a bunch of nectarines that she didn't know what they were, and they didn't know what they were because they were in excess from this boat that's come in. So yeah.
Oh,
Did eating
also,
the tangerine benefit us or give us any sort of anything?
You're looking for like anti-scurvy or something?
No, I thought that maybe one of us ate it and we had like a advantage on some sort of check or something or other. I can't remember.
I think they're in the packed lunch, and now we need to eat them right now and find out.
Okay, we'll find out.
Or just take them out and wave them in this guy's face and be like, we've already got these things.
I don't think so. I know that I gave Josh advantage on investigation checks for a drink he had, I think it was, or a fruit he had in Deletion. I think that's that's what's
maybe
crossed over in your head. Yeah, because he said, I'll find a way to use that. The investigation.
Also for Jay, everyone can talk telepathically to Boxxo for 4 hours, but not to each other.
Wait, what?
So we can
Boxxo's,
communicate.
created a group WhatsApp, but you have to message him. You can't message each other. It only has about half an hour left on it, as it was done at 9 o'clock this morning, and it's now 12:30.
Is there like a distance limit on it?
A mile,
Mile.
I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. What did he say again? 5 fruits for 2 coppers?
5 juices.
5
juices.
juices.
Cups of juice.
That sounds like a pretty good deal. Oh,
Better than drinking a seawater.
yeah, I'll put 2 coppers down.
He sort of looks at you and, great. Well, pick your fruits. If it's not too much trouble and you're not going too far away, I don't suppose you'd bring the cups back. I really didn't think through that part of my business. Not making much. People keep leaving with the cups.
I thought he said the cops for a second. I was really confused.
So he's got these little basic wooden cups, And you can see he's running low.
Okay.
How close are these benches overlooking the sea from this guy?
10 foot away, maybe 20. He was.
I'll look
You
over
can
to
see
where
he was
we're-
hoping that people would drink, leave the cups on like the benches in the little like park green area, or like at least somewhere nearby. But people like getting them and just walking off down the street. Yeah.
Well, I'll look over at the bench and then back at him and say, "We will see."
You could change your policy and make it a
I'll grab my cup, start walking.
Change my policy to what?
bring your own cup kind of policy.
Who brings their own cup?
I don't know. People who are prepared for anything.
I have a flask on me.
I have a flat. Or a
I think quite a few of you will have a flask or tank, and indeed a lot of people do carry their own cup because it's, they would.
I'll hand him my flask to fill up.
Let me see
Oh,
if I actually.
indebted to you.
Can I get one of those?
That one. I'll point to the one that he doesn't know what it is.
Same for Toothy.
Yeah, I'm gonna call it a Judy fruit because it would in my language it means very juicy.
Judy. Right, Judy it is. Would anybody else like some Judy juice?
I would love some jitty juice.
5 of them, perhaps. He looks to
I already ate one of those. I want something different.
It's true.
And he has pomegranate.
Oh yeah, I
And
want the
he
darkest.
has-
I want the darkest juice he's got.
Yeah, he's got pomegranate, and then he's got apples, pears, and something else, oranges.
We'll do pomegranate for
Okay.
Pietro.
Vel'zekiss?
I mean, I would never drink a pear juice in real life, so let's do it in a fantasy game.
Really?
Here.
Pear cider, however, is. I mean, I know you don't drink, but I think they do
That
non-alcoholic
sounds good.
pear cider, which is quite fantastic. So,
Pears
Pears
yeah,
annoy
You
me.
can get them at IKEA.
You're crazy.
you
bro.
can get pear cider at IKEA. With the
Non-alcoholic
meatballs.
pear cider.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, you guys can take a seat on the benches by the sea, looking out over the gulls and the docks with your lovely juice, and unwrap your packed lunch, which is a series of beef and horseradish bagels. To each.
2.
Oh dang.
They're not huge, but they're sort of like stacked on top of each other.
As we're eating, whilst Boxxo has a mouthful of food, he'll telepathically say to everyone, because I'm gonna use it up if I've only got half an hour. I'll telepathically say to everyone, we should go see the Chancellor.
What would the Chancellor do?
We can ask him to change the laws about violence, about domestic violence.
Oh, is he gonna do that?
He has the power to.
And if he does-
That could take months, years.
Yeah, I was going to say, how long does it take to change a law?
Well, what if it doesn't take that long?
You guys would know that it will take matters of minutes. There's no parliament here, there's no government here, there's no senate here, right? If he wants to change the law, he just changes the law. It's a dictatorship. You've got to remember that these guys, right, there's this party, this political party, who are suggesting that people vote for the person in power who are seen of as absolute lunatics for wanting a democracy. Like, that's unheard of. Everything's a dictatorship. So yeah, it really wouldn't be very difficult. And you would
It'll
vote.
take seconds. If we can convince him.
Okay. If he doesn't
Wait.
listen to reason,
What are you suggesting?
oh, nothing at all. I feel very passionate about this, but I'll keep a level head. Okay.
Just
There's
to
only
remind
one
you,
person
Boxxo,
in charge.
I'm pretty sure, Boxxo, that you can reenact psychic whispers. It just costs you a psychic
Right,
die.
It does. The first one I use is free, and then I can spend a psionic die to do it again.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah, okay, cool, right.
Yeah.
You were just saying it was expiring as if you would never have it back, but yes.
I was saying this instance is
Cool.
expiring.
Okay.
There's only one person in charge. That's
Well-
kind of weird.
For right now, she's safe because he's currently incarcerated. So, I mean, really nothing. We could do that. When is the execution date set?
Yeah,
Like, is he supposed-
it is in about 36 hours. First thing in
Oh.
the morning, the day after tomorrow.
Okay, so if our moral compass is leading towards we probably shouldn't have a man who's not actually the reason for a murder, maybe we should focus on that one first. Because we have limited time to figure out who the actual killer is. However, once we have that information, then we can kind of figure out what to do with it.
Boxxo, what do you propose is the appropriate punishment for this man? If you're going to ask for the law to be changed.
Well, I guess because it's a repeated action and it's affecting multiple people, then lifetime imprisonment.
Just a heads up, that is an absolutely novel idea. Nobody has ever thought of lifetime imprisonment in this world. You have lifetime slavery, but nobody stays in a jail more than a week. There are no
Nobody got time for
facilities
that.
for incarcerating somebody for the whole of their life.
What if we bring back, when you... gosh, I don't know if this is lore accurate to this world. Was there ever a punishment for, like, stealing where you get your hand cut off or something?
Oh yeah, that's not, you can't bring that back, it still exists.
Oh, cool. How about we add that? 'cause you
We
can't...
chop off his arms.
Well, you
We chop
can't
off his dick.
Like we chop off his third arm, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
His third leg.
Well, see, okay, how about this? You cut off one hand as a warning. You cut off both hands because you can't hit anyone without any hand. And then if he continues to, like, hit her with his head or something, you cut off the third arm. You just go down the line.
Listen, are we
All
doing
these-
this a job for a Jody or are we doing this a job for ourselves?
Yeah,
True.
all of these don't solve the issue. See, what we do,
Yeah, right.
we're in the West, is if somebody is not fit for our way of life, we brand them. We shave the end of their tail and brand the tail so it can't grow any hair back. And so that means that if we come across one of these individuals, we know that we can't trust these people anymore. That person is marked, and we have no communication, we have no business with these people, and we just set them on their way out in the wild.
Hearing this, you will be reminded that in some temples they do something similar. Priests who use their powers for evil, specifically, or who go well away from the tenets of the temple, have the mark of that temple branded on their forehead. And to cover that brand it will cause death automatically. So they can never cover that brand, and they are never to be given shelter, never to be given recompense, and often won't be able to find work. That is something you would know exists in the common world too, but again, not as a crime punishment
Yeah.
by law.
Gotcha. Okay. Is there...
But-
Okay. Whenever we spoke to her, was she, like, did she feel... Was it the kind of relationship where she feels like she needs him because, like, she can't get out of the relationship, or is she just, like, blinded by love, like, this man can do no wrong kind of thing?
You got the impression it was the latter. She truly loved him, and she.
The latter.
You could see she was ashamed that he visited brothels. She was frightened of the way that he treated people. She was aware that he was a cruel man to other people, and she still loves him, and she still wants him back.
Okay. So, yeah, that changes it, because if she was actively wanting to get out of this, then that's a
She'd
whole
be able
other
to do
thing.
it. There was a convoluted thought in Boxxo's head that it might have been the wife that killed the other man. And to make herself look innocent, and then it was a very
Well, that was Josh's one of Josh's theories, not Boxxo.
Wild theory. But she'd killed him and then tried to get him freed. Yeah.
Yeah, because usually the only ones that accept help are the ones who are actually looking for it, not the ones who are getting it. Slam dunked on them. Okay. Alright. So should first step be finding who the actual killer is?
Do bear in mind that you do have some evidence that he is innocent, but you would have to get the courtesan to tell the truth.
And she don't want to.
Yeah, she won't. She won't. Unless we can free her daughter, and then we have something on her, basically.
That part's easy.
You want to do one of your special tricks?
Well, that's something you missed from last episode. We met a super fan.
Oh, I did see that part.
Oh, yeah.
I saw that lore. I instantly
Lionel
thought. I don't know if any of you have played Oblivion, but there's like the
Yeah, the
little dude
adoring
that follows
fan.
you. Yeah, the adoring fan is instantly what I.
For what it's worth, his name was meant to be Kyle, and it was next to Lionel in my list of NPCs because of alphabeticalness. And I just read one line too low, and Lionel, obviously, as Rico so obviously pointed out, was also the dwarf. So now we've got two Lionels and no Kyle.
Nice.
Anyway,
You think it's so easily done, Vel'zekiss?
I'm sure if either myself or but it might actually be better if someone else were to. Boxxo, perhaps, if you could simply worm your way into the kitchens carrying this, the rest should be easy.
I'm being honest with you. I'm starting to care less about this man and his wife, and more about an entrapped child. If we're not going to collect anything on this job, better to do the right thing than possibly the right thing.
Well, maybe if we take care of this, everything will fall into place as it should. So if this mother has her child and she's able to do what she wants to, it's still her decision whether or not she wants to go to the court about the other man. But at least we've righted one wrong.
Just one thing, I'm just going to tote this, just because I think maybe I haven't given enough information about the world for you to know this. Do bear in mind that prisoners can be visited.
True, we could
by any member of the public. So you don't have to, and I'm not saying it's the right thing to do, but just in case you didn't have that piece of information at all, I just wanted to make sure that was clarified. Sorry, Jay, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, so we could visit the dude?
Yes, you could easily just pop in and visit him.
That could go so well.
Well, I mean, you'd have to visit him if you were going to get him out, right?
That's true. That's true.
Perhaps he may pay us.
It's an important consideration.
Asking the real
Because
questions.
his wife is willing to, or is offering us like her family heirloom or something.
Yeah, and you know that you were told by Francois that that heirloom would be worth enough to buy a house for her.
But it is also the only thing that she has.
Exactly. So, and
Gotcha.
she doesn't stand to inherit his business.
Yeah.
If he dies, she doesn't inherit a penny of it.
But if we get him out, then she doesn't need it anymore because she's never gonna leave him.
True.
Um,
Kill her, then getting a shit.
I suppose we could free him and then just frighten him into behaving better.
Oh, wait, but we can't guarantee that.
No.
Of course not.
Again, there's a rich man across town stuck in his house, a cave full of treasure down the coast. There are other alternatives.
I love how Vel'zekiss keeps bringing up this rich man who's stuck in his house over and over again. You know, the worst thing is I keep looking at the quest and thinking I'm not exactly sure why he's stuck in his house, and I'm hoping I remember by the time we get back. Oh, here we go. I have found it.
God.
I just didn't want to
We're gonna
leave.
get to this quest, and I'm just gonna be like, I don't know why he's stuck. It's sat in some glue. Like,
Yeah.
Do we want to like meet with this dude? Do we want to meet with this gentleman in person just to see if he's like worth...
I'm curious to just meet him and see.
Yeah, I'm curious to meet him too.
as you guys are saying all of this, the man who sold the juices comes over and he was only 20 foot away, right? And he just goes, just let the man die! And then picks up the cups that you haven't used and takes them away. You can see like he's been so trying to hold his opinion in for all this time, and he just lets it out as he collects your cup.
See, maybe we should listen to that guy.
He's a clever businessman. He's a sailor who's made some extra pennies by selling some fruit juice.
Mm.
As he collects the cups and walks away, Box was like, that one was mine.
He hands you your flask back. Right.
So,
one other random piece of information, just if you really want to. I know that maybe I'm not trying. I really want to be clear. I'm not trying to guide you in any direction. I'm just trying to give you information that might contextualize.
Oh, you're
things.
good.
The place where you would visit the man is in the dungeons beneath the courthouse, and the courthouse is where you'd meet the secretary if you wanted to meet the chancellor. So if you do want to do two things, they are in the same place. Just a side note, like it's not important if you don't want to.
I will entertain this endeavor.
We could always just 2 in 1. The ones of us that want to talk to the chancellor, I feel like we could change his mind, go talk to the chancellor, and the ones that want to gauge this man's personality could speak to the man.
This is fair.
You'd only be able to book an appointment with the chancellor. You won't be able to speak to the chancellor.
Son of a gun!
The guard was very clear about that.
Sure.
Well, some can go book the appointment, some can go talk to the guy.
Mm-hmm.
Unless we all really
go
want to see
talk
this
to
guy
him.
in the flesh.
Unless we all want to...
There and realize, don't think too hard about this, guys. Really, don't think too hard about this. If you want to book the appointment and or meet the guy, you're gonna have to speak to the exact same human.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
We split up and then come all the way back.
You're going to end up in exactly the same place with her going, right, you want to book an appointment and you want to see somebody down in the it's the same.
Dave, come on, that would have been a funny roleplay moment. No, kidding.
That's random shenanigans. That's right.
Alright, let's go.
So, just to clarify, at the moment, are you almost all in favor of freeing the man?
Oh, well, I wouldn't go that far.
I think Boxxo would like to free him of murder
Legally.
and put him away for and then legally put him away for domestic abuse.
I do want to remind you again that incarceration is not a punishment in this world. So
Sure, even if it means even if he doesn't go for that and instead it's imprisonment to then be killed, Boxxo cares about him being done for what he's actually done.
Guilty of, yeah.
Lawfully, yes. If that means beheaded, sure. Boxxo just wants it done the legal way. Yeah.
Okay, what's the plan?
We head to the courthouse.
Go to the courthouse.
As you go to the courthouse, Rheawynne, give me a perception check.
Oh boy. Okay. Da 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 dee da. Is it passive perception or just regular?
An actual perception check.
Okay.
You've been chosen because your passive perception is highest.
Nice.
Part of me is like, damn, if I only went Oath of Vengeance for this.
It's not too late to change your tenants.
That would be a 13.
Okay. You get the feeling that you're being watched. And a couple of times you turn back. You think you see someone following you.
No one be too obvious about this, but I think we're being tracked.
Where?
I go rigid.
No, keep walking!
I'll sort of bump into Boxxo while simultaneously grabbing Toothy and just like continuing them on.
I don't
You said
know.
to be conspicuous.
Yeah, perfect.
Oh, yeah, shit.
Thank you.
Probably just another fan.
My goodness.
Did my
What, another
perception allude to it being malicious or
have no
adoring
idea.
fan?
You just-
No
You
idea.
just keep
Okay.
catching. You think you catch the same like bit of face, little bit of blonde hair, human, a couple of times behind you,
Was-
and you feel like they're watching you.
Was your fan blonde?
I don't remember.
You didn't give him art. He wasn't worthy.
Spoken
of
like a true celebrity.
Wasn't worthy.
Wasn't worthy of my memory. Oh shoot! I just
Um,
accidentally unlaunched.
Can we sort of duck into like the side of the street for a second to see if this person comes a following?
Yeah, as you duck into the side street, after a little moment, a man sort of like goes to like quite obviously peek his head around the corner to look for you. It's confronted with all five of you. I'm not going to show you his art until you've worked out who he is.
Hello.
Oh. Hi. He's a very nervous looking man, got blonde hair sort of slightly over his face. You see scratch.
Are you interested in a date? Which of us do you prefer?
No.
Then what do you want?
I want you to stop. Stop what you're doing. Stop the investigation. You're gonna hurt more people than you mean to. And he gets really sort of like nervous, and like starts wringing his hands together.
Can I try to use my telekinesis to like? Is he hooded? I assume
No.
he's sort of covering
No, he's
himself.
just got blonde
We
hair, don't know
just
who
don't know
he
who he is.
You don't know who he is. No, you've never seen him before.
Are you about to use your telekinesis to like put a strand of hair behind his ear or
Oh,
something?
I thought he was hooded. I was just gonna like push the hood back to see.
Ah, okay.
Just don't know how many people you're gonna hurt.
Worried about us uncovering the real killer, I imagine.
I don't care what happens to me. No.
What was the name of the other boy?
Yeah, what
Did he
happens
decide?
to me? Then he sort of stands forward, looks at you, and I found his name is Jory, by the way, not Jaska.
Sure.
Okay.
Nice.
I'll say to him, Jory, I presume.
And for the first, like, he sort of almost relaxes back and stands proud. And, yes. Yes, Jory. I was gonna kill him, you know. Went up to his office to do it, had a mallet and everything. Then he wasn't there. There was a note that I needed to deliver something to Benson. I don't know why I took his axe. I don't know what I was thinking, but it was there. It was on the table, and I took it. And it was at my hip, and then I saw this. The perfect master with the perfect little apprentices. Everybody treating so beautifully. It all perfect. Why did he have it perfect?
Can I sort of just have a look around to see if there's anyone within earshot of this guy
There are.
basically confessing
There are.
murder?
You're a murderer.
I killed the wrong man. If I go down for it, he doesn't. And he is a murderer. More than once.
You know this for sure.
Who was he killed?
I stole his journals when I was younger. Long time ago. His plans. Not murder in the same. He didn't chop anybody up with an axe. But there was dye in the lady's tea. Mother. Cody's mother. He paid the doctor off let her father die, so they'd inherit. And he had another rival once. He arranged their murder to his liking too. Nothing but evil.
Do you still have those journals?
Have you ever showed them to anybody?
I've heard him boasting about the girl with the precious pearl. I've got a friend who, I know him well. He goes down there sometimes. She's always hurt. Jodie, the madam, she's a good woman. He's a bad man. And as he says this, 2 guards will step out behind him, having heard the whole conversation.
How can we help you?
No. Didn't hear anything. The man says. He shrugs his shoulders. Sort of forcibly grab his comrade. And walk him away. And Josh, you will recognize, Boxxo, you will recognize it is the same guard that you went to ask about the Chancellor.
I'll run past Jory to get to the guard. Wait, where are you going?
Lunch, I think.
No, he killed someone.
Nonsense, Boxxo. He was simply reciting the end of the story that he read.
He looks down at you, Boxxo, and I think that I'm going to separate you a little bit here just to remind you, Jory is in between Pietro and Rheawynne and Toothy and everybody that's not Boxxo. And then there's the end of the street, and then there's Jory, and then there's round the corner, right? So just, yeah. The guard looks down to you, Boxxo, and says, what's your name?
Boxxo.
Boxxo. For years, the guard found that the law and justice don't always agree. You were seeking justice, were you not? Sometimes justice finds its own way.
No, you're not doing your job.
First thing a city guard is told is that his duty is to the people, to protect them, to help them when needed.
They need protection from murderers like him.
I don't think he's a threat to anyone anymore. Have a good day, Boxxo. And he pats you on the shoulder and he sort of almost firmly pushes you back. He takes his comrade's arm and sort of steers him away. He'll almost resolutely ignore you.
I just stand there completely, just dumbfounded. And then I'll I guess head back to the alleyway.
Rheawynne's gonna go up to Jory. The arms that are cut up, does he have any bandage or anything? Or
no, they're scars. They're not openly cut. They're scars.
Oh.
They're all up his arms. They're not in the picture, but they're old scars, like white lines almost.
Can you, looking at them, could you kind of tell where they came from?
It looks like he's forced his hand past splinters or past something that scratches them constantly. Give me a...
Boxxo.
It's a tradesman's check. I don't really know what... let me just have a little think. Give me an investigation check. Let's see if you know anything about the dyer's trade or...
Oh, that was a nat 20, 19.
So you have seen these sort of like they're almost like a mangle, which sometimes is used to pull the dye, the liquid, out of certain things as they push through. But sometimes stuff gets stuck. It looks like he's being forced to put his arm in to pull things out, and has got like the sort of mangle scratches all up his arms, little almost like needle scratches all the way up and down his arms.
Okay.
You can also see as his shirt is a little low, you can see on his shoulder just the tops of little scars on the back, on his back, both sides, which you would know were from the floggings that you were told about.
Boxxo. There was once a mate of my dad's. He was a hunter, and he kept animals that we worked with to hunt, and he was a pretty nasty piece of work. And he would, in many people's views, abuse those animals. And one day those animals, they couldn't take it anymore. So they tore him limb from limb.
But they're animals.
We're not so different, mate. Nah, we're not so different.
Everyone has a breaking point, darling.
No, this is wrong.
He's right, Barry says. He looks to you, Boxxo, and maybe I can make you a deal. I will confess to the murder, Master Benson Matterson. In 2 days, 10 hours past midnight. But no sooner. You would know that is about half an hour after Jody's husband
I'm sure.
was scheduled to be executed. You have been told that by the courtesan.
It's not 1 second.
No.
As soon as he hangs, I confess!
Yeah.
He says, I may deserve to be punished for what I did. But his wife, Lef, Morvena, Buddhazan's name, his next apprentice, his sons, they all deserve justice. Our world would be better without him. Sorry, Vel'zekiss, go.
It's alright, it's a... Wanted to make sure you were truly done.
I am.
Vel'zekiss just gestures to the guy and goes, well, now that our investigation has been simplified by dumbass Hex Machina here, let us see if these journals will convince the wife, and otherwise perhaps look into breaking a child out of a kitchen.
What are we doing here then?
Alright. Where do you keep those journals?
The Dyer's house.
Well, let's go then. Boxxo, Is this an acceptable outcome? Well, no matter, we're going anyway.
As we're leaving the alleyway, could I try and sneak off to the courthouse?
Yeah. I don't even think there's any sneaking needed.
I think that's where we were just going, I think, yeah.
Well, no, you're going to the dyer's house.
We're going to the dyer's house now.
Oh, yeah. Now we're going to that.
Would Rheawynne notice?
Oh, you mean can you sneak away without the group knowing?
Already know.
Yes.
I mean, like, not really.
It'll be pretty obvious that you've gone, but I don't know if they'd be able to... Like, if you went quickly enough. I'm not sure they'd know where to pursue you to. I'm gonna leave that up to the group. If you're okay with that, then I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
If anybody wants to be able to try and notice him to chase him down, you may, but otherwise... I think it's logical enough that he's quite small, he's quite sneaky, and you're also focusing on Jory, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if he just ducks out the way.
Like, presumably we would eventually notice that he's not around, but I don't think.
Oh,
we'd be
that's
like,
what I mean.
God, we need to find him.
You'll
right?
notice he's gone, but you'll realize where he's gone pretty quickly and know that you won't catch him before he gets there. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And of course, you'd be leaving Jory. Okay. So as Boxxo slips off, the rest of you, following Jory down to the docks, come to the dyer's house.
On the way, can I just quickly ask Jory, if he's seen a strange Tabaxi wandering around the docks?
We're not allowed out during the hours of day. Unless on business errands.
Well, then perhaps on a business errand. And I'll press him a little.
Never sends me. Unless it's to Master Benson's across the road. No, and I don't go out. No Tabaxi. Sorry.
Fine. And then I won't say anything until we get to the dyers.
He sort of knocks on the door gently, in a sort of odd pattern. And Lef will come to the door. A single nod. Doesn't say much else. Leads you in. See Jody sat in the corner, staring blankly at the wall. She's not engaging with anyone else in the room. Not demanding anything. See, she's holding something in her hand. He will lead you upstairs. Into a tiny room with 4 beds along the back wall, each with perhaps 6 or 8 inches between them. The mattresses are old and unkempt. Barely rags covering them. He will stand on the 3rd bed and reach up to the ceiling, where he pulls a rafter loose. And lots of things cascade down. There are a couple of journals, but you will note a few other things. A spinning top, a little wooden giraffe, and what looks like a sort of single playing card that's been drawn on a little bit. A piece of coloured chalk. As this stuff spills down, he sort of catches it all as best as he can. Holds out the journals.
I'll reach out and grab one and just flip through.
As you go to open it, he will, almost with no effort at all, reach in and turn it to the right page. You know he's read these obsessively.
Thank you. And I don't know, like, do I need to make a check to validate
Literally
his...
says it shouldn't be so difficult. The woman is obsessive over her tea. Once a morning, she makes it. I hear that the filament of the brown is of the deep brown dye. Ochre, they call it. Poisonous. Should match the tea perfectly. Just a tincture. Of that old hag did. And then it's just the man that stands between us and the money we need to make a better life for us. Nothing more than we deserve. As you flick through, though, you do notice one thing. An entry a few pages later. Had to beat the woman. It was for her own good. Just doesn't seem to understand. There are some things you don't say and you don't ask about. A wife should know her place. But I'd feel bad afterwards. A moaning face. Moping around. Dearest Jody, I did it for you. There are a few other entries in there which imply that he loves her. He regrets beating her. But they become more and more and more regular. You read this journal, Pietro, it is obvious that he planned these murders long, long ago, but not necessarily you begin to realize it's going to be very easy to prove that the murders happened that way, and you can tell they were 10 years ago. 15 years ago. You're still muted, Rico.
Jesus Christ, man. I said that's what I was thinking exactly. I wanted to ask him, like, what did they determine was the cause of death of this old woman?
Fumes from the dye. Ochre poisoning. But from breathing it in. I didn't think the court would. I didn't think it would. I didn't think they would be enough.
But at least they didn't determine that she died of old age.
Why would she die of old age, mister?
He says here she's an old hag.
Oh no. Jody's mother was in good health before the poisoning. She was in her 50s. A lovely woman.
I believe you.
She made blankets for the apprentices. She did. I was 7 when she brought mine. It was red. That was before Oscar went.
I can understand why you haven't shown these to the courts. I don't know how much good they'll do, but have you shown them to Jody?
No, mister. Shouldn't do that. Break her heart, it will.
Doesn't she have a right to know, though?
He looks as sad as you have ever seen any man look. Miss, I think she does. Does know.
Well, then I think perhaps the best we can hope for is that after a period of time of not undergoing this treatment, she becomes of a different mind.
Answer at the cafe says she was a happy girl. She was young. They were friends. This is the only life she's known. She deserves to know a good life too. There's still time. Good life. Kind to us she was. Always kind.
We'll never be able to care for her in the oncoming months.
Truth be told, I care for Lev.
I thought so.
Mistress has friends. And the boys, she has her boys. I'll help her. Right? They're not evil men yet.
They are young.
They are specifically 18 and 14. if you are
I'll
interested.
look back to the three of them. Perhaps we leave a town just after the man's execution. Perhaps the boy does not confess. Boxxo doesn't have to know.
Oh my gosh, where's Boxxo?
As you say this, the man sort of looks at you.
I know, I keep calling him a boy. He's a grown man right now.
I know what I did was wrong. I should have killed Mr. Behrman. Oh, he might have overpowered me. But I'll look after him, I will. You say nothing. The mistress and all. Yeah, he'll chop them all up with an axe.
Oh no, I meant like maybe he did this for the wife. Like he's in love with the wife. He's like, I'll take care of her, it's fine.
The few ways he has mentioned it, it does sound like he regards her as a mother, not a wife. She is 20 years his senior, and when he was a youngster, she was kind to him.
Wait, so how did he accidentally kill the other guy? That's the part I'm kind of...
So he took the master's axe with him when he went over the road on the errand. He can't really remember why he took the axe, but he knows it wasn't Benson. But when he saw Master Benson there, the perfect, gentle owner with the perfect little apprentices who'd done all the right things, who had everything, and had done it all right, he was so angry that he had been through what he'd been put through. He just went into a rage.
Yes, it wasn't an accident. He just
It wasn't
lost.
an accident.
Yeah, he was
Okay.
crying.
Yeah, he did not kill him by accident. At all.
Ah. Okay, see, that was my first impression, so that's why I was a little confuzzled. Oh, boy. Okay.
You call that a crime of passion there, Joe? Or does that
That's not a
constitute?
technical term.
No. I thought it was.
Well, it could be in terms, not in legal terms, but in
Doesn't
sort
get
of
you
more.
off anything, but it does
Right, that's
describe
right.
the
That doesn't
nature
make
of
any
it.
difference. It can potentially reduce sentencing, that sort of thing.
Potentially. Maybe it'll reduce sentencing here if we just explain to the courthouse. It's a crime of passion.
It will reduce it from execution to the other non-existent sentences.
Well, there's flogging.
Right,
It'd be
chopping and
ironic, wouldn't it?
flogging. Yeah, flog this guy some more. It worked so well in the past. It drove him to eventual murder.
Drop a weight on his crotch.
Well,
Yeah,
let's alleviate ourselves from this situation briefly as you stand with Jory in the documents and find out what the hell Boxxo is getting up to.
Oh yeah, true.
I'm like sprinting to the courthouse.
Yeah.
In like a mad dash.
Okay. Yeah, you get there. You see a huge building. Sort of, it's in the horseshoe shape. With sort of like long windows all the way along the edge, and you know that glass is very expensive in this world, so this is quite, it's a really rich and resplendent building.
Yeah.
There's these sort of grand steps that go up to the entrance, which is on the first level. And they're wide stone steps, and they're big enough that you almost have to scramble up each step. Very mean to halflings and kobolds.
Yeah. Well, this world's not very nice to kobolds, so not surprising.
As you scramble up the steps, you can rush on in.
Yeah. I like bust open the doors dramatically, like in movies when someone stops a wedding just at the last moment.
And find yourself in a large circular chamber with a checkered black and white floor. All the way around the back wall are these sort of wooden tiller's desks. So they've got like a window for the person behind, and then they've got like a part over the top on each side. So they're like sat at the desk, and it's like you walk up to the window of a kiosk. These windows are about 3.5 foot in height. So if you walk up to it, you won't be able to see a thing.
Oh god.
There's about 12 of them.
Yeah, I guess I run up to one, and I guess I don't know, make some noise, like bang on the thing.
Okay. You just hear, How humiliating for both of us. And then stepping down from the outside of the kiosk from a large chair and coming around the outside is a bespectacled gnome who's about 3 inches taller than you and also can't see over the kiosk when he's at your side. He sort of looks at you eye to eye and... Can I be of assistance?
I'm like very out of breath. I need to speak to the Chancellor. It's urgent.
Oh, well, I suppose you've come to the right and the wrong place. You need to... You... Thanks for a moment. Why do you need to see the Chancellor?
It's about murder. Multiple murders.
Right. Bit of a sconce look. Well, You should see Mrs. Bones.
I kind of like...
He points
Boxxo can't find words, so he flails as if to say, where?
He come with me, and he'll sort of escort you over to another kiosk and sort of knock quite loudly on the wood. And, Mrs. Bones, a gentleman here to see you, a kobold, in fact. I don't know what they've done with that damnable steps. With those damnable steps. Perhaps an office. A woman comes sort of out the back and she's got like very prim, grey hair pulled up, spectacled glasses. She's also a human, which you wouldn't expect, because there's quite a few Dragonborn here, and so, but the Chancellor is not a Dragonborn. You do know that. So, can I help you? And she doesn't lead you to an office. She just sort of stands there looking down at you.
I need to speak to the Chancellor.
Very well.
It's...
She pulls out a large book from the sides, and she sort of flips to a few pages and... Matter regarding?
Murder. Multiple murders.
Are you making threats?
No.
No. A matter of law?
Yes.
Historical?
Yes.
Very well. I've got an appointment... Yes. That'll... Twice, I suppose. If you're willing... Are you willing to take a morning appointment?
It needs to be before 36 hours from now.
Oh, that's quite impossible.
No, it can't be. The guards won't do anything.
Well, I'm sorry. The earliest appointment I've got is at 8 a.m. on Dreamrise 27th. That's 16 days hence. You're lucky.
No, please.
Normally it takes over 2 months.
No, please. I need to speak to him now.
Well, I'm sorry. You're speaking of impossibilities.
Oh,
I need to have triplets in the next week, but it's not going to happen.
Please, he must have some free time.
No, indeed. That is quite the problem. You see, right here, and she'll show you the calendar book, the exact reason why he can't see you is because he doesn't have any free time. The Chancellor is a busy man.
Well,
27th,
what about...
Dreamrise. That's the earliest appointment I can do.
No, what about when he takes lunch?
Oh, goodness me, if we booked an appointment in his lunch break, he would never get to do anything done.
But this is...
I assure you, every matter on the Chancellor's calendar is urgent, otherwise I wouldn't book them in.
But this is... someone will be done of a crime they didn't commit in 36 hours.
Are you making threats again?
No, I can't remember the guy's name.
Dennis Behrman.
Dennis, thank you. It's about Dennis Behrman.
Well, who's that?
He's in prison. He's going to be executed in 36 hours for a crime he didn't do.
If you have evidence, present it to the court.
I can look around like I don't know.
So you don't want to speak to the Chancellor at all? You want to raise a matter in court? Do you have proof of his innocence?
I have a confession. Like, the person confessed.
As you are saying all of this, you hear from behind you. Sounds like quite the story. As you turn around,
Is that a
there is
journalist?
no, there is a tall man, quite strapping, muscular shoulders, but he wears a sort of long black cloak. He has a very elegant-looking pin on his chest. He's an elven man. His white, grey hair is pulled very neatly down the back of his head. Mrs. Bones, my morning appointment was cancelled. Show up. I'll speak to this gentleman. His story interests me. Come along, then. Don't have all day. What was your name?
Boxxo.
Chancellor Lycus. And he sort of reaches down to sort of like come at the handshake from a low enough angle that it doesn't feel like an imposition to you.
I give him a very weak handshake. Very flimsy wrist.
To my office, I think. Come along. And he strides down the corridor quite quickly. It's quite difficult for you to keep up, but he does slow down a couple of times to allow you to keep up. And he leads you to a fairly simple and modest office. There is a large table in the corner, but he gestures towards a small lunching table beside. And he very quickly slides a sort of little set of stairs that you think were probably there to people to use to the kiosk, but he's borrowed them for a previous client and he puts them next to the chair, trying nonchalantly to like do it without looking like he's forcing you or making you feel awkward. And then he sits at the table and you don't mind if I take tea?
No.
Thank you.
I'll climb up onto the chair.
Absolutely parched. So, your turn. Please, I don't have long. Mrs. Bones wasn't being mean. My matter seems to be urgent at the moment.
Okay, Dennis Behrman, he didn't kill the other dyer. It was Jory.
I believe the wife has made this argument twice. She had no hard evidence.
Jory confessed. A guard was present, but he didn't do anything.
Why ever would he do that?
He doesn't believe that he's done anything wrong.
Mr. Benson was evil, was he, and deserved to die? Was that the guard's perspective?
No, he thinks Dennis should die.
Well, that opinion seems to be shared by quite a few people.
Well, Dennis, he has killed people. So he should be put to death for that, not for this. Jory should be punished for this.
So the man I have incarcerated should be punished for murder, but not the murder he's currently being held for, but a different one. And the murder that he is being held for, somebody else is guilty for, and they should be punished for.
Yes.
Right, well. Compelling case. Evidence in all cases.
Dennis has journals where he talks about the people he killed.
The ruminations of writing were ruled out of the court of law almost 100 years ago. Can't be proved, unfortunately. People think about murdering people all the time. If we arrested people on the things they've written that they will do, well, frankly, we'd have no citizens free.
But
my wife this morning told me she'd kill me if I left my shoes in front of the door one more time. Can't arrest her for that. Unfortunately.
But the way
too indulgently.
but the way that he describes the killings in the journals, that's how they died.
Oh. Having evidence of the murders within the last 6 months.
I don't know.
It's unlikely if the journals are still being held by somebody else and not found missing. Master Boxxo, was it?
Death scale.
He gives a little eyebrow raise. This Jory you speak of, why did he kill the man?
He said that he went into a fit of rage. Dennis, he hits his wife and his workers. When Jory went over to the other dyers to I don't know, give them something, or I don't know, but he saw how nice they were being treated for, and I guess he just lost it.
You can't have people just spontaneously losing it in other people's houses and killing them with an axe. It's quite unhelpful. Sounds to me like this Dennis Behrman is quite the despicable man, however.
Well, there's no law in place to protect people from domestic violence.
No. There isn't, is there? Suppose the wife is seen as the property. Interestingly, if a wife was to beat her husband, she'd be punished quite severely. It happened very often. My wife would kill me if I didn't do something about that, I suppose. She wouldn't actually, please don't. No. Thanks for a moment. Well, try not to interfere in cases of lower law. This guard, can you describe him?
Sure. And I will.
That is unfortunate. Part of me had hoped I wouldn't recognize the guard, but he's a sergeant. The captain's son. He's a brutally honest man with unwavering morals. Why does this mean so much to you, Boxxo?
Because if
The door knocks.
people-
Not now, Mrs. Bones! Delay it. Carry on. Sorry.
I mean, laws are there to protect people, so they should be upheld.
Because you think this Master Jory might fly into a rage all of a sudden another time and kill again. That's your belief.
It's possible. I think the first time is
It's
bad
entirely
enough.
possible that you will stab me. But we can't arrest you because of that. I'm asking you, do you think you
I
will?
don't have a
In
history
your-
of murder.
In your judgment. He looks at you. Aren't you part of that group that dealt with those bandits?
Yes.
The strange Lizardfolk celebrity wizard person.
Mm-hmm.
Bandits were killed, were they not?
Yes.
Self-defense.
Partially.
Justice.
I believe so.
Begging your pardon, Mr. Boxxo, but I can't help but feel that the most just thing, even if it is not the correct thing in terms of the law, would be just to turn a blind eye to all of this. I really don't understand why you want this man Jory punished so badly.
He killed someone.
So did you?
I killed people who were stealing and killing people.
He killed a man in the comfort of his own home. Yes, I take your point. But it will be very difficult for Mr. Behrman to go down for the crimes he committed in his journal so long ago. Want me to free a monster on the chance that a regular citizen might lose his temper again?
Well, then make a new law and put him away for beating everyone up.
Can't hang him for that. Whilst having him
Why?
flogged
If he's a danger to society, isn't it just the same as murder? You're both dangers to society. I mean, it's just one punch away from possibly killing someone. We just wait until that happens?
There's a man down at one of the taverns by the docks. His name... Oldest Shoulder, I think they call him. Anyway, people go to the docks, the tavern, to pick a fight with him. Because he's the champion of the tavern. Most tough. Always wins his fights. I would say he's beaten up hundreds of men. Thrown them through the window of the tavern at the docks, but because it's a fight that both combatants enter fairly willingly, we don't arrest him for it. In some ways we applaud him for it, because a lot of the people that go down and get involved are the dregs of the docks and cause the most problems. Not so black and white.
That sounds very black and white. I'm sorry, but I don't want to hear people's anecdotes anymore. If this goes unpunished, that's wrong. Then what's the point of any law, of any rule, if the reason's good enough that you can just do anything?
Is my hope in the next 2 years, decades perhaps, to have a set of laws and a manner of upholding them that creates a just, fair, kind Mazrea. Right now, I will not speak ill of the dead. But the laws that have been put in place are not always just or fair. And that isn't right.
You can change them.
Slowly and surely, yes. I could make manifest changes today, but I also need to secure this seat for the future. If the Emperor's son takes over because the people don't like the radical change I'm bringing about, trust me that the laws will become harsher and less fair. The upholding of them even more so. I am no more all-powerful than men of the temples or the wizards of the towers. This jury of yours, you say he made a confession.
Yes.
You make it again.
I don't know.
Would simplify things, you know.
But there was witnesses.
Yes, I shall speak to Sergeant Matthews. But would it not be fairer or just if procedures were to take too long, Mr. Behrman was to hang first, or the real murderer was... Who stands to gain from Mr. Behrman's release because he is innocent of the immediate crime? It sounds like nobody.
Well, his wife wants him back. She doesn't care about being hit.
There stands a wonderful opportunity for us to bring in a law to protect people from being beaten they won't complain about, so that the men that they love don't get punished. It's me, the convolutions and the convolutions. I will speak to Sergeant Matthews. He will bear witness to the confession. Then Master Jory will be arrested. And I shall look into a law to protect women in marriage.
I will get up from my chair. I was supposed to get down from my chair. And without a word, we'll leave.
As you go out, Mrs. Bones is standing, sort of very primly, looking a bit frustrated outside. And at her side is a very irate-looking temple priest. As you pass, you might note. Give me a perception.
I'd love to. That is a 14.
Yeah, just bear with me a second. A piece of information that I don't seem to have right now. We'll find it. Oh, come on. The fucking name. What was your perception check?
14.
14, yes. It's definitely enough, but can I find her fucking name? There we go. She's the last one. You would note that it is a priest, of Vela, the goddess of life. For what it's worth. And just as you get to the end of the corridor, you do hear him shout the word, "A necromancer's stone!" As you go to leave. Well, as you pass, you've gone to the end of the corridor. You just hear it behind you. So like that.
I like, not outwardly, because he's so wrapped up in what's happening, but inwardly he is smiling slightly that someone is complaining about the necromancer stone.
And we come back to the four of you, standing with Jory in front of you. Questioning what on earth you should do.
I think I posed the question before we cut
Right.
out.
Mm.
Look at Jory, who looks like somebody stretched Peter Dinklage out until there wasn't enough happiness left to fill his larger body. And then say, "That's the, what works for me, I suppose."
So can you just repeat for us what works for you specifically so that we can keep you all praised?
But I don't know how long we'll be able to keep it from Boxxo, and it might be worse if he's finds out later and angry with us.
We got some spare gold. We can sort of speaking to him as well. Get your ship right out of here. Go wherever.
Leave the lady to fend for herself.
All of his, maybe, if we can afford it.
I'll look at Tooth and Claw like, can we afford it?
He sort of holds his hand. I don't need your gold. I have the keys to the safe.
Well, if
That sounds convenient.
if Dennis is executed, but there's no real reason for them to leave town, is there?
Yeah, I guess so.
Your friend is gonna send me in, isn't he?
Yeah, it seems like it.
He will try.
Well, I mean,
But
maybe
perhaps
Box-
a justice will be on your side.
I mean, maybe Boxxo has a bit of a point.
This would dictate that I hang. As to you, Pietro, I won't go alone. The only reason I'd try and escape that justice is to look after the lady.
A noble cause.
She can find her own safety. I meant what I said. I will confess, but only after the master hangs. I'm not
Agree
afraid
with
to
that.
die. Escaping this life would be a relief in many ways. But you'll
Part
check
of me
on her,
thinks you
won't
should be.
Sorry, go on.
Oh. Part of me thinks you should be punished in some way. You did murder someone.
He knows.
Yeah, I understand Boxxo's, way of thinking.
You murdered someone. You turn. Jody is stood there at the top of the stairs.
Of course.
The plot thickens.
Murdered who? It was you. Little Jory. His wooden giraffe. Took an axe to Master Benson. She hangs her head. Oh boy, what have you done? She sort of drops something that she was holding. Rushes down the stairs and out the front door. Very sad. Boxxo, she is going to run into you, but not quite yet. As she drops something on the floor, the rest of you can look and see that it is a simple silver locket with a painting of Master Dennis Behrman in. She is dropped on the floor. Boxxo, as you're getting back to the Dyer's house, suddenly you are bundled over by a fleeing Jody.
Right.
The two of you sort of crash into each other right outside the door, and she sort of looks, oh! I thought you were with them. Oh. And then she just stops and stands there and just starts crying right in front of you.
But what's wrong? I say as I try and get up.
It was Jory.
I
It was
know.
Jory.
I told the Chancellor.
Lose a husband. Gain a son, or gain a son and lose a husband. Or the other way around of that. Lose a son and gain a husband, or to lose a husband and gain a son. Just sort of... There's no trade where I win. Raised that boy. He was 6. I sheltered him from the wrath of my husband. Got him toys when I could. Would he do such a thing?
That boy's not a boy anymore.
What do I do?
I don't know.
And she sort of pushes you aside and she strides off towards the cafe a little down the road that you've seen her go to before, Francoise.
Mm-hmm.
And you
I
can into the Dyer's house and meet the rest of the guys who are also confused as to what to do with Jory, if you wish.
I'm I look up at the door of the house.
Open right now. The rest of you can all
Yeah.
see Boxxo outside, by the way. I want to make that very clear.
Oh, I thought they were upstairs or something.
They were, but it's literally, you come in and it's straight up like a slanted ladder, it's right in front of the door.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'll wait outside for them.
Okay. 4 of you stand around Jory. What are you doing?
I mean, perhaps the best we can hope is that this woman rebuilds her life around taking care of the other one who's left.
Unless Boxxo wins, and there's no one left.
Well, even if, right? That's what I'm
But
saying. Even
two,
if
she has 2 boys and left as well.
Jory, right? If she loses both of them, right, husband and Jory, that's fine. Then she maybe has to cope. Like, that's what forces her to take care of things. So she's going to take care of this
Mhm.
the one who's
Mhm.
left.
Or we send Jory with the fruit well-traveled men, because they're going to be taking off soon with the right fruit. Okay.
This matter is beyond my pay grade. Which, as it seems, is a 0.
Yep.
You know, the longer this day goes, Vel'zekiss, the idea of going to the man stuck in his house makes more and more sense.
I mean, there's no specific pay put on that one either, but he's supposedly rich.
It sounds so much more simple.
Maybe it is.
I'm just getting
Maybe
more and
it
more
isn't.
frustrated.
Oh, maybe it's not!
I miss the times when we were killing people.
It really is easy to kill them once you've decided it's the right thing to do.
It made me feel like I was justice. Now I don't even know what justice is anymore.
Oh my goodness, are we supposed to be executed then?
Jory sort of like raised his hands and we could all be hung together. And he looks around, he's like, wait, did you killed someone too?
A few.
No innocent men in a crazy rage, of course.
Mm-hmm. No, we were in our sound minds when we murdered people.
Yes.
Perhaps the lesson we take away from this is that the law and justice are not always the same thing.
Boxxo.
Yes.
Perception check.
Okay. That is a 19.
See a very large, shouldered man, walking with a limp, holding what appears to be a sledgehammer, coming around the edge of the house and advancing on you. He was the man who let you in originally, left. And he's going to try and kill you. I need you to roll initiative, please.
What?
That's awesome.
Wait, who is this?
He
The
is
other,
he
other-
is
the other
he
son.
wasn't Quite of, no, he's not the son. He's the other apprentice.
the other
who
apprentice.
Jory cares for.
Mm.
Left. He let them in originally. As you see this
And he's
man
trying-
coming at you with a sledgehammer, what do you do, Boxxo?
I telepathically say to everyone, get outside now.
Like the building's gonna blow? Or like, do you give them some context?
Yeah. The whole place is a powder keg.
Hey!
Yeah, I just tell them to come outside now in a very urgent, frantic
Okay.
voice.
I don't need initiatives from everybody else.
Oh, you don't?
No. Do you do anything else on your turn?
I will. Wait. I will take the dodge action.
You do so. Sort of moves forwards on you. You just hear him in a sort of gruff voice. You won't take Jory! You won't! And then he's going to swing the sledgehammer down at you with disadvantage, of course.
Mhm.
He's going to roll 2d20. As his sort of slow, lumbering blow smashes into the ground as you step to the side, the rest of the group come out, and Jory comes out behind them to see what the commotion is about. He rushes over. No! No, Lev. No, remember like we talked about with the Master? You'll get in more trouble. And he sort of gently pushes his hands down and the left lets go of the sledgehammer, and then quite forcefully will take Jory and put him behind him. won't take Jory. Jory's good. He's not going to try and fight you anymore.
Are we outside?
Yeah, all four of you were sort of like left. Jory literally had to push through you all to get over to. We stood around Boxxo.
Did you change the law, Boxxo?
I don't know what will happen.
Oh. And why not?
Because it's not that simple.
Ah. So you understand now.
No, I don't understand why you would want to let him go.
Can I point down at Boxxo's legs and just say, Boxxo, don't you come from a place where the law would have those chains still attached to something?
I was born here, so no, I don't come from that place.
To be fair, that is a backstory reveal. We didn't know that. They didn't know that until now, right, Josh? So.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
But your father did, or your grandfather did, right? Depending on.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, regardless, if you found yourself in such a place, would you find it acceptable that you're considered a slave by the law?
No, I think the law should be changed. That's not just.
Do you believe in justice or the law?
I believe they should be the same.
But how do you know that your version of justice is similar to somebody else's version of justice?
Here, Boxxo, and I'll pull out my obsidian dagger and hand it out to him. If you wish to see justice carried out so swiftly, kill him right now. Before us. Go on, take it!
No, that's not how that works.
Left just sort of shouts out, "You're not getting Jory!" Standing in front of him. Come on, Boxxo.
Whether you condemn him to death or do it with your own hands doesn't seem to make a difference to me.
And if we let Jory go and he kills someone else, are you responsible for the death?
Jory looks around at you, totally confused. Why would I? Someone else?
Well, to be fair, you didn't have a very good reason the first time either.
Look, none of us are saying that Jory's gonna get completely away with this. He already said that he was going to confess, but the issue lies that if he confesses now, the man who has killed before and will probably kill again and hit his wife again will have no consequences.
The Chancellor said he was going to look into a law about domestic violence.
And what if he doesn't?
I believe him.
All right. And you
So much
believe
trust
that-
in a man you just met. And yet you don't trust us, who you've traveled with for weeks.
You believe that a man you've just met, who you know has killed, should nothing happen to him?
No, not nothing.
Should we just go around freeing murderers if we think that it's okay? Well, where does it end?
I'm fine with both of them dying, just to be clear.
If they should suffer the consequences of their actions, then this is just.
I just want to let you know that you can now see Francois, the cafe lady, and Jody returning towards the dyers. You would just cut the conversation and wait.
I think
Yeah.
I would say, well, here she comes back now. I doubt she's ginning herself up to make a report under the new domestic violence law.
I remember just one thing though. Boxxo, you were once pretty quick to criticize us in the way that saying that, how do you know what we think is best and just and what the law should be? And I just feel like you're doing that a bit right now.
As you say that, Jodie comes over and she says, right, there's nothing for it. Gonna have to make a run for it. And she says to Jory, you did get the courtesan to speak, right? She looks at the rest of you.
She spoke to us.
So you'll get my husband freed?
Somehow doubt that.
Oh, she won't talk?
I actually think we could probably get her to talk. I'm not sure we're going to bother.
You...
You've made a very stupid little life for yourself. I'm not going to help you maintain it.
She's sort of like just heaving sobs with her shoulders, and Francois sort of puts her arm around her shoulder. I could have put it a bit more gently.
That's just how he is.
It's what we've all been telling you, girl. Better off without that bastard. How many people? No. She sort of circles her finger around Jory.
There were 2 guards.
And depending on how far Boxxo got, perhaps the Chancellor.
Oh, and everybody knows your husband is a dick.
Oh, my husband, love. Gestures towards Jodie under her arm. And...
Oh, sorry, that one. Sorry, sorry.
yeah. But, Francois sort of... she's this sort of broad-shouldered black lady. She's got like big hair going on. And sort of big earrings. She's sort of like Mama Lover, you know, when she's in... She's like, right, whatever happens, this girl needs a cup of tea. So if you'll just get out the way. And she starts sort of walking Jodie into the house. She sits her down and sort of goes over and starts like, put the kettle on. And she's like, I'll be back in a minute, girl. You sit right there. She comes out. She shuts the door quite firmly behind her. Now, what's the thinking?
Free and enslave the girl. Get the fuck out of here.
She looks around a little perceptively and sort of... You're gonna let the boy run?
Well, the boy said he was going to confess.
She looks at him. You always were an idiot. Killed the wrong man. You're probably right, you know. Don't have mad axe-wielding murderers hanging around. God knows it's no surprise you killed someone. I thought you might aim your wrath a little better. You're gonna hold him captive for a couple of days? Then have him speak his confession? You're very deeply involved with people to whom it means nothing at all, aren't you?
Perhaps not by choice. And I look down at Boxxo.
I get it. I used to be part of a group. We fought for justice, you know. In many ways. Ending slavery and all sorts else besides. Back in my homeland, Women are treated far worse, and you'd still be in chains. Look, the laws aren't great in Mazrea, but they're better than elsewhere. Chancellor's doing some good things. If he confesses, that bastard gets back to Jody.
But the Chancellor said that he would look into laws to protect against domestic violence.
Alright, so maybe he gets back to Jody for 6 months and then eventually goes down for... You don't think they're going to kill him for punching his wife, do you? Right now, they don't even notice. Why don't you just solve it all yourselves? Let Jory confess and just kill Mr. Behrman. Nice stealthy assassin job. Or you could kill them both. Or you could walk away. Let those that really care deal with it.
But they don't care. The god walked away.
The god's got to do with anything, love? People who
They
really care are
enforce-
right here. She gestures towards the door of the building. They've lived through hell for 25 years. He might have gone into a fit of rage and accidentally, unpurposely, murdered somebody and chopped them up into tiny pieces. I'll give you that. Probably not a great look. But
A
look,
great guy.
just let them have a happy ever after. Some sort. Get that man out of their lives. If it's something, are you mercenaries, adventurous? What is it? Something like that.
I'll nod.
You work for pay, don't you? Do you?
I used to thought I worked because I believed in something. I'm not sure anymore.
Oh god, they're the worst types. She shakes her head and look. Here's the deal, I'll pay you. Pay you to walk away. Your papa had an old sword. It'll sell for a pretty piece. I'll give it to you, it's hanging up in the cafe. You just walk away. You don't even
I'll
have to
look
go
back
anywhere. Just
And
leave
give
them
you
to
guys
it.
like that. Like,
Stop
I'm
getting
okay with
involved.
it.
Poke your nose somewhere else.
What about the Dyer's family, friends, workers, people who care for him?
Benson's family.
Yeah.
They're grieving. They're sad. They're broken.
Don't they deserve justice?
They believe they've got it. Mr. Behrman hangs 2 days hence.
But it's not the truth.
Sometimes a little lie is important.
Murder isn't a little lie.
It is in some households.
Do we know? I can't remember. Do we know why he was over there?
He was delivering something or picking up.
He
some-
was asked to deliver something for Mr. Behrman to Mr. Benson.
Right. Okay, right. Behrman was not there at all.
No,
No.
no, not at all.
Right.
He was at the courtesan's house.
Right.
Trust me, I had to write it down very, what do you call it, sequentially, so I could, like, make sure I got it all right.
You had a board with like the strings and the photos of each character.
Oh, that's every quest. She looks at you and... Ready sword to walk away. Find a different justice. Find somewhere else to expose the truth. Bring an end to slavery in Kalan or something. It's my hometown, sorry. Little family. Let them be their broken selves. Go on.
Just gonna
She
look down
looks
at
around and sort of quite insightfully, 18 of insightfully, in fact,
Oh.
Is anybody other than Boxxo against taking the money to walk away? How's Toothy doing?
I'm prepared to just walk away.
Okay. Oh, he wants to walk away, and you can keep your money.
Yeah.
Where's Rhea on this?
Ah. Oh God. Ray is of the mind that the one man should hang for like the previous murders he's committed, and that's not going to happen. If if Jory confesses right now. However, I think she kind of likes the original plan of letting, the real monster hang, and then afterwards Jory then confessing to what he did, because he still did it. But it's one of those things where I feel like she'll fight for it more if this really means a lot to Boxxo, but if Boxxo is willing to go with the rest of the group, I think she'll let it lie.
I think at this point, I think Boxxo realizes there's nothing more he can do. Either, we will let them go. Boxxo can't stop everyone from helping them do that. And I think Boxxo will obviously stay with the party. Obviously. But, I think he's not going to stand there and keep protesting or try and put up a fight or anything. So, when we walk away with or without a reward, he will follow. I think for him, he's just hoping that the Chancellor does do something, I guess.
She looks at you all and... Come on, up to the cafe. I'll throw in a free pot of tea. I'll meet you up there. She nods towards the cafe. She goes in and she's, come on, girl. Get you a cup of tea. Oh, left, don't just stand out there. Come on. Come on, love. She sort of takes him by the hand gently and leads him in. Jory sort of looks at the door and then looks at you guys. He's going to walk over to you, Boxxo. Good. I go. What are you looking on them?
Gosh, how often are we going to be back here? How
much is it really going to matter to you? Her life from now onwards. Future. Do you have invested in it? I know what I did was wrong. Justice dictates that I should die for it. Justice dictates that that woman and her 2 boys and their mistreated apprentice are looked after. Are you going to do that?
The Chancellor is going to bring about change for that.
Yeah. He's going to go around to everyone's houses, making sure that the dinner's not burnt, and that they've remembered to take the children to school, and that they've got their shoes tied up properly, and that they've got someone to talk to about the bullying, the local game. Yeah, the Chancellor will do that, honest. With that, he just sort of shakes his head at you and... Can't all be perfect, you know. He'll turn his back on you and begin to walk away.
I'll shout over. I'm not asking for perfection.
You see him shrug his shoulders as he goes back to the house. You guys can head over to the cafe. And Francois comes in a few moments later. Yeah. Got it down for you. Pretty piece. She looks over to you. My father died fighting slavers. He fought for justice and for truth. He died pointlessly at the age of 35. See you don't do the same. She tosses the sword over towards you.
Was this your father's sword?
It was. He used to say the rune, the blood rune, on it. It's the blood of his forefathers. Total rubbish. It's a Carnelian, actually. I've had it looked into. But it's what he believed.
Then perhaps instead of selling this, we will wield it in his honor.
Definitely gonna die pointlessly at 35. She hands you the sheath that goes with it. This is a bloodshed blade. Quite a powerful sword. You can add your hit die to the damage. One spare. It is a long sword. Though I am willing for it to be wielded as a rapier, if somebody wishes. I'm okay with longsword or rapier. I will let you guys decide which one you call it. It's a sort of, it's almost like a pirate's cutlass, you know, a thin, fairly balanced blade with a brandished handle and like a thinner blade. So you could fence with it or you could swing it with might. It's up to you guys, effectively. Depending on which of these marshals might give it a go, and who would want to. I mean, I know Boxxo doesn't wield weapons, right? So that wouldn't make sense to him. So I think it's probably just a toothy or rare sort of thing, or you can sell it. It's worth a pretty penny.
Oh, we can certainly sell it. I was just saying that to her to sort of make her feel better.
She thinks it's a fairly stupid bit of idealism, but she had it hung up there as a little bit of a memoir to her father. As you all sit down, she brings over a pot of herbal tea, chamomile tea. It's Jodie's favourite, this. What you gonna do?
And I'm not sure I trust it.
But did that girl struggle with making the right choices?
Then maybe a few weeks not being knocked about the head, she'll see things straighter.
She gives you a curt nod. Agreement. Anyone want to free a man who's stuck inside a house, or what are you guys planning from here onward? It's 1 o'clock, 1:30 in the afternoon. I think we're going to let that moment sit for a while. Is there anything else that needs saying before we go on a short break?
I think so.
How's
Anyone?
Boxxo doing with the outcome?
I think both he and I have found this very emotionally exhausting. And
Me
so
too.
I think he's just like it's not even that he's massively upset with the group, you know. I think he's just frustrated with the lack of an outcome and the uncertainty of what's going to happen. And kind of wondering if he is right in all this. So I think he's just kind of quietly stewing there to himself and kind of like every so often just like sipping at the tea.
Don't worry, I'm sure it won't take Vel'zekiss long to point out that I think you've now done 4 quests and not executed any of them, as you were intended to.
Well, I mean, for what it's
4
worth,
jobs and done none of them.
yeah, I mean, Vel'zekiss is annoyed. His annoyance with this job is that it was too complicated to just do it by being capable. Do you know what I mean? Like,
And that was the
couldn't
case
do it.
with everything you've encountered so far, right?
Yeah.
The guy's watch back, Rickson or everything.
Yes, that is a successful quest. You did achieve that. Anyway, just before we be right back, that is the conclusion of this quest line. You got the most gold out of it, but the least XP. And therefore you may each take 40 experience points.
Oh.
And we will be right back. Hello, and welcome back to the second half of Freedom... No, Elsewhither. That's the campaign. We don't play Freedom Chasers on a Sunday, that's on Friday. If you want to see the new campaign, Freedom Chasers on a Friday, why are you here? Anyway, I have had it pointed out to me by my more mathematically aligned players that the time zones have confused me, and we're not an hour and a half in, but 2.5 hours in. However, we are going to move on from the heaviness of earlier on, and at least have a little bit more of something else. As you finish up your tea and cakes on the house at Francois' Cafe, which, by the way, is called Francois' Cafe. It's got nothing more to it. What are you guys thinking about doing? Because I have pinged these side quests, but obviously there is also the case of the courtesan, her sister, and her daughter. I know that that means a lot to some of you.
We could go kidnap a kid.
It's weird that it's kidnap, even if it's an adult, isn't it?
It's a bit more complicated than that, because it's not only the mum and the daughter, but it's also the sister. You know, because if we take them, then the sister could be punished for
you have to get all three of them out together, or well, you would know that if you can't get the sister and the daughter out, Morvena just won't leave.
Oh, and so wait, the sister is sort of bound there as well?
She's a courtesan. Yeah.
Oh, and she owes a bunch of... Okay, yeah, something like that, right?
Generational debt. Morvena and her sister, Paige, are both courtesans, and then Morvena's daughter, 6 years old.
It's a pot wash.
Yeah, so I mean, we would have to figure out... First, we have to get in to talk to them again, which might not be 100% easy. And then figure out if... So, she basically said, the reason I can't run away is because of my daughter. But we don't have established particularly clearly if the daughter was an issue. Could she very easily run away? That's probably also difficult.
Yeah,
right?
You could cut off the daughter, and then she'd have nothing to stick around for. That's right.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah, right. But I mean, just practically wise, can she get out? You know what I mean? How complicated is that part of the endeavor? I think I could get the daughter out of the kitchens pretty easy. But... I don't know if we can get the other two to somewhere
simultaneously as well. Yeah, that's the question.
Yeah, that's
and then what for them, right?
And then where do they go? Yeah.
A temple has helped us out so far.
I almost said in the middle of that last thing, is there a sanctuary thing? Can we just have the guy turn himself into a temple and promise service to the temple for the rest of his life? But we can't solve every problem by dumping it in a temple.
It's kind of a fun
there are quite a lot of
though.
temples. You can just,
one of each, actually.
Yeah. God.
It is currently 1:30 in the afternoon. You'd know if you do want to speak to the courtesans, you'd need to do so probably before 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening or afternoon when visitors will start clicking up.
Do we want to visit the man stuck in the house for a palate cleanser?
Well, I think Pietro might sort of mention that something along the lines of it seems many of these problems, at least some of them, could be solved simply with a gold. We keep doing jobs and not making any money. It's not a good look for us.
Why doesn't it look good?
No money. No honey.
Wow.
Why do I need honey?
I'm not bold to rest anymore. He was a honey badger.
I can't.
Why does he need honey?
I'm gonna sort of ignore that question and just sort of move on to perhaps we should take a job that is sure to land us some real coin, or perhaps visit the treasure cove.
Let's do the treasure cove. I want to find something and kill it.
I have to agree, when I gave up performing to do this sort of adventure work, I didn't expect it to be going into destitution.
I want to bring my own form of justice back.
A short vacation, then, from the city.
Maybe.
I will tell you that you would know if you do head down the coast, you will be leaving rich nobleman Lord Oshathor stuck in his house, and it probably won't be available to when you come back.
Okay.
I mean, I'm happy to see the crazy old man.
Yeah, let's do that one
It's
then.
not a complicated scenario. So, well, it's a very
Yeah.
complicated scenario. But
Just gotta pick the
it's
lock.
complicated to get.
Kick the door open. Done.
I suppose. We
Do we
can
know
walk
his
by.
address?
Yes,
Oh,
you do.
okay,
He's up in the high district. He's got a very
Ooh.
large manor house. And yeah, he. You're going up to the manor house, and
We can saunter by on the way out of town to the cave.
so when you go up to the manor house, you will see that all the curtains are drawn, upstairs and down.
Does he have a gate? Sorry, or are we like directly?
He has like a little outer gate, but it's sort of like just a little tiny front gate,
Okay.
with a little sort of like there's a couple of rows of flowers, and then like it's a short path. There's the door. You can see the door, and again the door has a little peephole in it, and that seems to have something pushed right up against it. All the curtains are closed, all the doors are closed. You would know that in a house of this size there would normally be a servant's entrance. Even if he doesn't use servants, because some nobles don't. There would still have been a traditional servant's entrance as well.
Can we try and look around for that?
As you head around the house, you hear a woman, female dragonborn, just shouts out, "Gone balmy, you know, not letting anyone in." She nods towards the house, but you can carry on round. You do see a servant's entrance. It's a fairly plain, simple wooden door.
Yeah, can we reach for the old handle?
Yeah, you try the handle and you sort of hear it rattle a little bit, and then there's a massive sound of kerfuffle indoors. And what it sounds like is an entire china cabinet has just been toppled on the floor. Just hear like china and like this massive sort of and like pulling sound as if somebody's moving a table, and then suddenly you just hear slam up against the servant's door and the rattling of china.
Ah. So he's just not letting anyone in.
Perhaps
I thought
someone
it might
else
have
is in
been
there
like-
with him.
The door seems a very
Maybe.
simple latch lock. The Boxxo you would know you could easily grip if you would like.
Hopefully it opens outwards.
Yeah, I'll try and lockpick him.
Yeah, give me a Thesis check.
Building code back in Baldania dictates that a front door or any door leading to the exterior must open outwards. So
Is that actually a thing?
I think there was a moment where they tried to force a door inwards and it actually opened outwards at one point. What did you get, Josh?
I got a 13.
Yeah, that's plenty. You flip the latch easily, and indeed the door does open outwards, and when you open it, you are confronted with the back of what appears to be a large china dresser.
Is anyone inside?
yeah, hello.
Hello?
You hear nothing.
Knock, knock.
We heard
Here we
you,
go.
you know, pushing the china cabinet against the door.
Start pushing.
You push against it. You hear the sound of something solid, almost wooden, hit the other side and try and start pushing.
Hey! Stop that.
I mean, athletics.
Push harder.
Not what I was thinking. Or,
Is it just Toothy pushing against this thing? Can,
I mean, somebody else can join in if they want, give them the help action.
I got a 21.
Oh, he's got it.
Yeah,
He doesn't need any help.
As you push the chair, as you push this, oh, I'm really sorry. This is doing my nut in. The music just won't go. There we go. Thank you. As you push this back, you sort of across the floor, and two mops start going around the edge of the dresser and start trying to whack down at you, hitting you. They are not being held by anybody. They are floating in midair.
Hey!
And you hear
stop
a
that.
voice from up the stairs saying, "Please, help! Help! They're holding me hostage!"
Okay.
I'll grab the broom or the mop.
Yep, and it tries to yank out of your hands, and as you do so, the china cabinet starts pushing back against you, And then suddenly you sort of shoulder through, and as you burst into the room, you are going to start next week in combat with 2 mops, 1 broom, and a plate-throwing china cabinet. There appears to be nobody in control of these. They definitely seem to be animated in some way.
I've seen this scene in Beauty and the Beast.
I haven't.
You never seen Beauty and the Beast?
Actually, Josh, we have, right? We have. Is that the...
I never watched much of it.
Josh, how
But
did
we
you let
in
this
this
happen?
Is that Mrs. Potts?
it's
Josh, how did you let
Yes.
this happen?
Yeah, okay, so I have seen it.
Don't even get me started on the Disney movies that he's not seen. It's ridiculous.
We were
God.
rectifying it, and then life got in the way. Friendly here, thank you so much for the raid. Because of the time difference, we're actually right at the end. So we're just going to do our MVPs and then shoot you on out the door in the opposite direction. We will find somebody appropriately to go and visit. But in the meantime, we'll come to the timeless tradition of MVPs. I didn't ask anybody for... Where the fuck have the cameras gone? There we go. I didn't ask anybody for a recap, so we'll just start with Joe. Joe, give us an MVP.
My MVP is Pietro's continual focus on the payout. I really enjoyed getting that consistent line from a character who I might not really know yet what his values are, but he definitely seems to care about getting paid now. We know this. Yeah. Oh, you're muted, James.
You're muted, James. Sorry.
Josh.
Yeah, I mean, I think the whole session was great. I think probably the confession, it was pretty out of nowhere, and even though we had all speculated that it could have been one of the workers, when it was actually happening, it was like, oh my god, I can't believe this is the answer we were looking for. It was really great, and then the guards turning away was brutal. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That just whole sequence.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was pretty tough. Jack.
I got 2. I can't decide between the 2. One of them is Pietro giving the dagger to Boxxo to be like, if you want justice, we'll do it. You know what I mean? That was so that was just so cool. And then it was the other one was Boxxo when he was just like, I'm sick of everyone's anecdotes. Stop telling me. Just let me believe what I want to believe. God damn it.
Rico.
Yeah, I was going to say also Boxxo's conversation with the Chancellor and sort of just Boxxo's unwavering belief in true justice or whatever he believes in. You have to commend him.
Lawful good truth, yeah.
Yeah.
Jay.
No money, no honey. That's my favorite line.
It just kind of come out of
I'm on fire today, geez.
and then Jack's follow up with why would I need honey? And I'm just that whole interaction sent me into orbit. So that was pretty good.
Yeah, I can agree. Actually, Rico, the stand-up moment for me was the obsidian dagger placed into Boxxo's hand and gone, if you believe so strongly in this justice, execute it yourself. I got really emotional playing a couple of the characters, especially Jory. I think his story is really quite sad. And he was so broken he couldn't even kill the right man. It's pretty tough. And I thought you all adhered really well to that and stuck both true to your character, but also gave the story the time and honesty it deserved. And you were willing to give way and compromise with each other. I mean, even Boxxo in the end finally agreeing to walk away and leave this mess to itself was pretty telling. I really liked Joe saying, for what it's worth, I'm okay if they both die. Sure, was great. I really enjoyed that. But I think for me, it was the moment where you guys ducked into the alleyway. Because I hadn't planned on Jory confessing at all. He was going to try and stop you from going to visit the Dennis because he believed that Dennis would offer you gold for his escape and you might take it.
Mm-hmm.
And he was going to try and convince you that the wife didn't deserve such an outcome. And then because he was suddenly confronted with it all, and you were like, "Oh, is it to keep the real murderer hidden?" And
Couldn't handle the guilt.
and that was the moment in which I decided there and then he was going to say, "No, I don't care what happens to me," and then accidentally confess. And that, yeah, I mean, you led that, guys, because I was never going there at all. And in fact, if you weren't going to visit Dennis Behrman, you may never have met Jordan. So it was a really interesting series of circumstances that just resulted in something wonderful. I think today was a really, really good session. I think that both last week and this week obviously were fairly heavy. And I think that was nice. We did it justice and we put it somewhere dark. And now you've picked the absolutely most whimsical quest on my list,
Thank
which
God.
is you're in a deep and intrinsic battle with some mobs
Fantasia over here.
as the house is coming alive and trying to beat you up. But yeah, just before we go, once again, thank you, Friendly Hair, for the raid. We will be back to normal time in a couple of weeks, and then we'll align with you once more. I think because you guys are off in Oz, actually, that's total bullshit. We're going to go even further back, and you'll be raiding an hour after we've finished. So maybe for once, it might give us an opportunity to come and visit you. But it is lovely to see you all, and I hope you had a great session. But in the meantime, that is where we're going to end. So if you guys would like to say goodbye.
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 We're going to be raiding Roll X Play. I hope you have a nice time over there. Go and give them some love, and we shall see you soon.